Hi, I'm Scoot, and welcome to the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel. Yesterday, August the 1st, MTV turned 40 years old. So, what is that, 20 years of great music? Because they don't play music anymore. But look, let's go back to the beginning of MTV. It was August 1st, 1981. At 12:01, MTV signed on the air with the words, "Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll." And then they went into their very first video. Video killed the radio star, the Buggles. That was a prediction. That was prophecy. Ironically, it proved to be false prophecy because video did not kill the radio star. Why not? Well, we'll get to that in just a moment. I remember those early years of MTV, and I thought it was great. I loved the music. I mean, I loved the Duran Durans and even more obscure bands like Haircut 100, and I loved the videos. I thought it was great. And there was a lot of talk that when you add visuals, when you add the extravagant videos to music, nobody's going to care about radio anymore. Well, it's interesting to look back on history and when television first started, when TV was first invented, people predicted that TV would kill radio. It didn't. And today, radio is as viable as ever. Radio reaches 90% of the country. So why didn't video kill the radio star? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But we all have our memories of those first videos. Now, I remember MTV from the very beginning, so I remember the earliest videos. "Jesse's Girl" by Rick Springfield was the number one song in America in July of 1981, and with a hot-looking young singer, Rick Springfield, the song it was perfect for a video. Well, they did a video, and Jesse's Girl was one of the early videos that dominated MTV. But those early videos, we all have memories of the videos that we first remember. And for some people, it might be Thriller. For some people, it was maybe, Pat Benatar, Love is a Battlefield. And you look at some of those songs like Thriller, some of the videos like Thriller, Love is a Battlefield, um, uh, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Cyndi Lauper. Those videos were actually mini movies that kind of turned out to be like a story with like a mini movie with a theme that went with the lyrics. So those were kind of interesting and cool. And the extravagant productions of the videos just in some ways I think it really went too far. I like the videos that included some performance of the band. Some videos there was no performance of the band. It was just a storyline or it was just visuals. I always thought it was good for the band to be in there at least performing on stage. And what I found interesting was that MTV put new pressure on labels and artists to come up with extravagant videos. But then what happens when they perform live? I love Duran Duran. And when I had a chance to go to their first big concert in Baton Rouge, Louisiana in 1984, this was the very early beginning of Duran Duran. I wanted to go hear the music, but I was even more motivated to go because I wanted to see how Duran Duran, a group that was born on MTV, how Duran Duran would manifest this image that was born on MTV with all the close-ups to a young generation that would be sitting in seats where Duran Duran would be this tall on stage. How were they going to do that? They were playing live in front of a whole audience that was used to seeing them in close-ups. So how are they going to do this when they're this big on stage? That was the first time I ever saw large video screens used at a concert. I don't know if it had been done before, but it was brilliant because Duran Duran realized that this audience knows us by our close-ups. and we're going to have to give them close-ups. And there were video screens over the stage, on the side of the stage, and whenever there was a close-up of Simon, John, or Nick in particular, the whole place screamed. Well, I mean, I didn't scream, but the whole place, the whole place screamed. In fact, I had a conversation with Roger Taylor, drummer for Duran Duran, and I said, "Yeah, I was at that concert in 1984." He goes, "Oh, you were the guy who was there." Yeah, there were a lot of younger females there. It was almost like Beatlemania come to life again. It was like fan hysteria over a band, and Duran Duran had all of it. The looks, the hair, the style, the music. It was just a sensational moment. In fact, that is still number one on my list of the best concerts I've ever been to. And it wasn't just the music; it was the whole phenomenon of the event. And so I think back on all of that as MTV turned 40 years old. MTV changed with the audience, and MTV doesn't play videos anymore. Well, they play some videos, but they don't play back to back videos that the generations that grew up with MTV would love, because that music that they played back then, those were contemporary hits. Those were like new releases, new music. Some of it was music that was being introduced for the first time. If that music were played today in videos on MTV, the people who lament about the years of MTV, they wouldn't be watching because they wouldn't be that much into that music. Some would, but not everybody. And so while we can lament about the past and those good years when MTV was playing, videos 24 hours a day, we also have to realize that we've changed, and MTV had to change to fit the audience. So there were shows like um, the Request Show. There were shows like the Afternoon Dance Show with Downtown Julie Brown. There was the Real World, a series of shows. They were doing shows to attract that generation that was watching MTV at the time. So again, we can bitch and complain that they don't play those videos anymore. Well, they wouldn't play those videos. They would play different videos today. I do wish, and I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but I do wish there was a channel, and maybe there is, and I just don't have it on my cable. And you can suggest something if you want to. But I would love to see those videos that played in the early years of MTV and VH1 as well. And so why didn't video kill the radio star? Well, here's my theory. And I've studied communication theory, still pay attention to the relationship between media and society. And I've been in radio for a long time. I think radio is very special because when you listen to radio, in the same way that when you watch this YouTube video, you know other people are watching. And in the case of radio, thousands of people are listening, but you might be alone when you're listening. So radio is a very personal medium. Podcasts, YouTube channels, very personal. It's just you and me. And I've always approached radio with the idea that I'm talking to one person. And when I meet people, and I continue to say this on my radio show on WWL, when I meet people, I I remember their faces because that gives me a visual while I'm doing the show. And I think of those faces while I'm doing the show. I get to put a face with the audience at that point. And so I try to talk to you. And even though there are a lot of people listening, I feel like I'm talking to one person. And that's what makes it intimate. And most people in the car, in a cubicle, at home, a great many people who are listening to radio, whether it's music radio or talk radio, they're listening alone. So I think that's one of the really special, unique qualities that radio has as a medium. And so video did not kill the radio star, and radio continues to thrive today. Competition from all of the music sources now, from all of the music sources that give you new radio stations, including our company, Odyssey. You can download the Odyssey app, Audacy. Download the Odyssey app. We've got hundreds of radio stations. You can pick out the ones that you like. I mean, you like the 80s, you like the 70s, 60s, you like country music, you like country 90s, you like grunge. I mean, again, whatever you like, there are radio stations for you. But one of the great things that radio has now is the ability to communicate with you. And think about this. MTV is 40 years old. Somebody who was 15 years old when MTV signed on the air in 1981, that person is 55 today. That is the core of the talk radio audience. We have people older, we have people a lot younger. But the sky's the limit in terms of attracting demographics to a talk radio show today, which is why on my show, we feature a lot of pop culture. We feature a lot of bumper music. That's the music going in and out of breaks. We feature bumper music that sometimes fits the topics that we're talking about, or is part of our rock culture calendar. Different things that happened on this day, songs that were released on this day in history. We use all of that because today's talk radio audience has more pop culture references than talk radio audiences in the past. Thank you for joining me here. And I hope you'll join me on my radio show on WWL. It's in New Orleans. But you can download the app Odyssey, Audacy, and stream the show there. Just type in WWL. I'm on the air 1 to 4 Central Time in the afternoon. And thank you for being with me. I hope you become a subscriber. If you haven't subscribed here, just subscribe to Scoot on the Air, YouTube. And it's free. And we'll give you a notice every time we post something. Thank you for being with me.